Okay, so the next feature we want to work on right now is the lock feature, where a user will be able to lock a particular color. So now let's go to the hosted one, and if you see this now, if we lock these 3 different colors and we generate a new color by pressing the space bar like what the instruction says here, if you notice only these 2 color changes. If we do, we lock this and we also lock this again and lock this and lock this. So these 4 colors are locked, right? This is only the color that should change when we generate a new color. And right now I'm pressing the space bar and you notice this is only the color that has been changed. So let's quickly add that feature to our application on localhost right now, and let's go to the side. And for us to actually achieve this, it's quite straightforward what we try to do, because if you go back to the color platelet, remember we are seeing a props called locked hex and set lock hex, which we haven't even passed in yet. So that is what we're going to be using to do the whole locking of the colors. Okay, so cool. And let's go back to our page, right? And we're gonna go back to our dynamic page where we are doing this, and we have our okay. So going up here, we're just gonna create a new state, right? Our new state is called lock hex and set lock hex, and it's set to an empty array, and it should just contain strings, right? Strings of array. So we're gonna say this should be what? This should be taken in our particular props. We're gonna pass them as props here right now, the lock hexes, and we're also passing in the setter, which we're going to use to set the hexes. Now if we go into where we're going to be using the palette, right, and we are going to be using these values here to actually toggle this these icons, because if you notice this, let me zoom in properly. Okay, so we have an icon here which represents open, and once we click on this should toggle to the lock icon. Let's quickly do that first. For us to do that, we are gonna say, I think we already have it set up, right? Let's go into our options, because that's where we're doing it. Each of our options have access to the lock hex, and yeah, if the hex dot includes, then we're gonna show the lock icon, else show the open icon. It's kind of straightforward, right? So now we just need to create a particular function that's going to handle that for us. So we say const undo, we could call this undo hex toggle, right? Meaning that we're going to toggle it like open and close. We just want to use one function for the 2 purposes, and it's going to accept the hex value, right, which is just going to be a string. And so basically what we're going to say here is, so if our lock hex, which we are accepting as props, right, then if it includes our hex value, then and only then are we gonna set the lock hex. We're gonna set the lock hex to our lock hex of what we already have, right? The locked hex and the lock hex. Okay, I think before we continue, let's quickly bring in the set lock hexes. We have the hexes here, and let's go back here and say option. Okay, so I think we're actually doing this in the wrong component. So let's take this up real quick and take it into right, and just put this function here and say if it includes, right? If the hex includes, we're just gonna filter our values. We just call our values x, right? And what our values here are just gonna say is if it's not in there, we're just gonna take it out from the particular array. And remember how to take out a value from an array, then we're taking out the hex value directly equal to this. Yeah, this is quite straightforward. So let's format this again, and so we could look at this clearly. So what we're saying is if the lock hexes, right, include, right, if the lock hexes includes, and we're taking the setter, right, and saying if the lock hexes dot filter. Okay, so what we're doing here, we're just creating a now. Okay, so we just have a function called, what we're just doing here, we just have a function called handle hex toggle, and we're looking for the particular lock hex. So once you click this, right, we set the lock hex into this particular array, and we're just looking through that particular array. If it's available, then we'll filter in. Then if it's not available, we're gonna take out the particular value. And I think a better way of explaining this is just to say this in action, right? If you say handle hex toggle, and we're gonna use it for our option, and we could just set this into option, and we're gonna call this, we could just call this toggle hex, and also pass it down here too. Toggle hex is just gonna be here, and we have toggle x, right? Toggle x, and we are gonna use toggle x where we have the icons right now. So on click of this particular parent, or on this particular icon container, right? So we're just gonna say on click, then once you click on it, right, we're gonna set a particular color. Let me show you how that's been done. We're gonna set handle toggle hex, then we're gonna pass in the color, right? And remember, the color is just coming from the props here. Toggle hex, let's quickly type this so we don't have TS errors. Our toggle hex is also gonna be just like a function, right? Accepts a string. And I think we are okay. So we have an error here. It says empty expression. I don't think this error exists because yeah, the error is away. The error has gone away. Okay, so let's quickly review what we currently have now. Now we have log hexes, right? And for us to really preview what we're trying to achieve here, let's just log the log hexes onto the log, our log hexes, and let's just wait for this page to load up real quick and refresh this. There's an error said handle toggle x is not defined. Let's see where this is coming from. Handle toggle x is not defined, and that should just be handle x toggle. Okay, so we made a mistake in the naming. That should just be handle x toggle and passing the values, and I think we should be fine this time. The error should go away. Okay, cool. So let's go back to our options and see what we currently have here. Okay, so our locked hex is undefined simply because we don't have any of our hexes are locked. Let's click on this one. The first one has been locked, second one locked, and this seems not to be working. Let's see what's happening. Okay, on click, we're calling in toggle hex, right? So once we click on this, we're passing in the color and the color hex. Let's refresh this one more time and see what we have. Okay, let's see our console if we have any error. Let's quickly look at our console for any error and see if an error could direct us to where the issue is coming from. Surprisingly, we don't have any error in the console. So let's see this one more time. Okay, let's try to debug it. We have our function we're accepting here as a prop, and let's go back here and see. We're passing in drag it, we're passing in toggle hex, right? And what's missing here? Color is string, we're requiring type log hex is declared here. Okay, beautiful. I think we've been able to see where the issue is coming from. If you go back here and see, we have log hex here, right? We're expecting log hex and we're using it to like change the icon, but we are not passing in the value, right? And that should be the issue. And successfully we've been able to like debug why we couldn't do that. So let's just copy this and take it down here also, and this should work. Okay, and it says what? It says boolean is not assignable to type string. Okay, no, that error shouldn't exist. So if you click on this now, okay, I think let's just go back to option and see if we can visualize this with console ninja real quick. So we have an empty array. Cool, not undefined anymore. So once you click on a particular hex, we log this particular hex, right? And we log this particular x, and we log this particular x. Doesn't seem to be working neither. Okay, let's continue debugging one step further. We have log hex, we have the toggle hex, and the toggle hex is okay. So the toggle hex is saying if the log hexes includes, right? So we're just gonna set the log hexes to that value, and we could just also add an else statement here, right? I'm just gonna say else if it doesn't exist, then this is where we're gonna do the locking. Then we're just gonna set our log hexes to an array, right, containing our previous log hexes. If there was any color existing, then with the new hex, with this should work now. So we're just saying else. Now just to explain this further, right, what we're doing here with this toggle, this is actually doing two different things. Not like two different things simultaneously, but like based on the if statement. So if the x that is being passed inside here, right, goes through this first line of code and it exists, we're gonna take it out. Else we're gonna add it. Do you understand? So that is just giving you like a toggle effect on and off. If the x that has been passed into this function does not include or does not exist inside the log hex array, we are going to add it. If it's inside, we are going to remove it, and that is what we are doing with this. Okay, so let's quickly see this. Now the color is locked, and I really want us to visualize this very well. I think I could just zoom in properly. Okay, let me refresh again. So this is start of the application just mounted. Let's say hot pink. Let's lock hot pink. Like, you notice the differences, right? And we want to lock this too. We want to lock this, and we want to lock this. Amazing. We want to lock all colors. Now let's go to options. Now if you check our log hexes where we're trying to log it previously, that wasn't working. Now we have 5 different colors all in our log hexes. Now let's refresh this page. We have an error that says what? Okay, let's go back to, let's zoom out again to 100. Fail to load Clerk. I think that should be a network error. Okay, we're fine now. So if you lock this, we have this particular color is locked, right? Lock this particular color is locked, and lock this particular color is locked. So right now we've been able to lock the color, and based on the state, right, if the particular hex is locked or not, we can show two different icons, which is what we are doing inside the option here, right here. If it includes, right, if the color includes, we're going to show the lock icon. If it's not there, we're going to show the open icon, and we are triggering it through this event listing that we're using on the parent here to click on it. And this will come in handy when we are trying to regenerate a new color, like what we have currently right now. When you just press the space bar, you generate a new color, right? And that is when we will be able to use the hex values. Since we already have an array containing the lock values, if they are locked, we are going to use them in a later chapter on this video. And okay, so I think at this point, let's go back to localhost, and we are calm. We take a look at this on wider screen. We have our remove color. We could take out the color. We could copy a color. We could drag. Amazing. We could also lock, just like update the UI. And I think we have everything we need here right now to make this work. Now let's go back here and see where else can we add quickly. We still have some features to add. I think one feature we could quickly add here is the color picker, right? So if you click on a particular color and a particular color hex, you'll be able to see we can change the background color and it gets updated in the URL. If you change this one to gets updated in the URL, and yeah, I think that should be the next thing we do. And I think once we're done with that, we could just move into working. Well, I think once we're done with like adding the color picker and stuff, changing the background color, we could move into working on this other part of the application. Okay, let's quickly work on that. So for us to do that, we need to install a particular package. And what we need to install right now is we just need to install a particular package, and the particular package we need to install, it should be the Reactjs picker. Let's quickly search for Google on that. And Reactjs picker npm actually be a very hard picker to get, but we will find it. And I think let's just go to npm. Okay, npm, and this should be the gpicker. 0 packages found. Okay, let's try searching for the Reactjs color picker. I think we should have a result now. Yeah, this should be the exact one we need. Yes, I think this is the exact one we need here. And let's quickly take a look at the home page, which should be a GitHub repo. Okay, so it says a simple color hex picker, a simple color picker for React applications, and pretty much straightforward what you could do with it. We're just going to take in this command npm install and go back to our application and open up our terminal. Okay, let's open up a new instance, and we're just going to put this and say install this. Okay, so while that is installing, let's quickly go back to our palette component, and inside our palette component, we're just going to do some stuff here, right? First off, we need to create a use state, right? Which we're just gonna say it's just gonna be something very straightforward, right? Just gonna be show color picker, and the show color picker is we're just gonna use that value to show the color picker real quick. And we are gonna come down here and say once we click on a particular text, once we click on this particular the color hex, which should be it. I think the h3, right? We're just gonna set it to true. Then based on the value, we're gonna say based on that particular value, we're just gonna show based on that particular state, right? Let's quickly do it here. Based on that particular state, we're gonna show, we could say based on show color picker. We're just gonna put this for now. That's not how you spell picker. Okay, color picker else. No, let's show nothing. Okay, so our npm package is actually installed, and we are ready to start working with it with the particular component. So this is how it is. We're just going to show onChange and onChange value red. Okay, let's copy this real quick. We're going to use it in a bit, but let's quickly look at this again. So we just have this. Once you click on this, it shows the color picker, right? Click on this, show the color picker, click on it, show the color picker. I think let's just go back and create another color picker, so we could have like 5 different color pickers. Okay, cool. So once you click on this, you have the text, color pickers are being shown, right? And we are going to do something. We actually want to set up another hook, right? Now this particular hook is going to do something for us right now. So we want, when we click outside this parent, we are going to close this particular color picker. So before we do that particular step, let's add our color picker. Okay, so let's go back here and say we don't want this. I think this could also be always be null. But at this point, once the color picker is set to true, we want to show our color picker. And let's quickly import this from okay, let's go back to documentation and see how we could import it. It says we're gonna import it from gpicker. Let's quickly go up here and say import this from here, and we are good. And on change, let's just leave on change open for now. And we're gonna style this and also add the whole logic to it. I just want to show the color picker real quick. So let's open up the page and see what we have here. Let's reload the page. Why do we have an error? We don't have an error. Very weird. Okay, so let's just take out on change, or let's just say no on change for now. This should still run. Okay, so let's make this wider and see what we currently have. So once you click on this, we can see the color picker. Click on this, we can see our color pickers, and color pickers. Okay, amazing stuff. So let's go back here and see this, and let's quickly style this. So we're gonna say our color picker. Let's format this pages. Let's format this real quick, and we can make this real small so we could have more room for our code. Yes, amazing. So our color picker right now, let's just add a parent around it, right? And this parent is just gonna be some styling. It's just gonna be padding of, and we're just gonna make this absolute, and the z index of 50, so it stays on top of the page. And also set the value, right? The value of this particular color is just gonna be our color instance instead of passing red directly. So the value is just gonna be color instance, and I think this is pretty much it, right? So React is screaming. So let's quickly take this into this guy and format the page right now. Format. So we're returning a null, and let's see where this error is coming from. We shouldn't have this error. No. Okay, so it says on change is actually missing here, right? And on change, let's just do this. Let's add on change, right? So on change is how we're gonna change the particular color, and our on change has access to the value. It gives us access to the value, and we just need to set a new. We need to set a new function. This is our new function. Is gonna be called const. Let's just call it handle set color, right? And it's gonna be an arrow function, and this will just be a function that takes in. We're gonna take into value. We're gonna take in the color, and we're also going to take in the index of that particular color, right? So our color is just going to be a string. We don't want it to be anything apart from a string. Our index is just going to be a number. So what we want to do with this handle set color right now is when you choose a particular color, we want, now let me show you this. Let me show you what we're trying to do. So let's say handle, let's just use the function here before we are done setting it up. We're going to pass in two values here. We're going to pass in the value that has been available, which is the particular color that has been chosen, and the color index, which we are passing as a props. Now color index is coming from the top of here. Let's go up and see. We have color index here right now. That's how we're passing it down into this parent. That is how we're passing it down into our function. Okay, so I want this to load up real quick, so I'll show you what we currently have. Okay, so we have this color, and this is going to the bottom, and we're actually gonna like fix that. So let's go back to VS Code and see why that is acting that way. Now we were showing our color. Where is it? This should be the part. Format this real quick, and okay, let's take a look again and see. So it's staying here because okay. So I think the only explanation of why this is acting weird right now is because this color picker is in the wrong position in the hierarchy of our particular component. So let's quickly go into this part and see where we have color picker. So now the problem, let me quickly show you the problem why this is acting weird now is this. Like I said, we have absolute, and that is very weird. So we don't want the color picker to be inside this parent here. We just want the color picker to roam free and be on its own, since it's gonna be like showed, since it's gonna be showing on render, right? Or it's gonna be showing on condition, on a particular condition. So that way we'll be able to fix, yeah. Okay, let's format this again and see, and open this up widely and refresh the page. So we just have this, and once we click on this, we open up the particular color, and if you notice, the color that is being set by default here is the particular color that we have on this on the platelet. So let's check this again and see this and see this and see this and see this, right? So we have dynamic values in each and every of our color platelets, and that is only possible because we're passing in the value to the color instance, which is the hex value directly. Okay, so now we have our set color. We haven't really set what's gonna happen there, right? To do that, it's kind of straightforward to do. And what we could say here is, okay, I think what we could say here, we could just log our color for now, just to show you what we're trying to do here. So once you choose a particular color, this particular function should be able to accept it. So let's say we want to choose this color. Here we have RGB 115, and we change the value. We have RGB 77. So we're gonna use this value right now to update the particular background, yeah, and the particular color plate that I was selected. And how we're gonna do that now is this. Okay, so what we just say here is we're gonna say just create a new const for this new color, right? And our new color is just gonna be equals to our color, and we're gonna replace our color. We're gonna do the same thing we did before, and we're gonna take out the hash because this particular color has the hash, right? We're gonna take out the hash from here, and we're just gonna return nothing. So once we have this new color, and once we remove the hash, so now let's just do this. So let's log. I think we okay. Let's quickly do this. Let's log new color. I think let me show you guys what we're trying to do again. If you take a look right now, and we change a particular color. Let's say we change it to this color, and or we change it to this other color, or something like this, right? We are not getting any log right now. Let's see. Let's refresh this page one more time and click on this real quick, or this. Let's do this. Okay, cool. So if you see this, we are getting the value, right? The particular color value in RGB, red, green, and blue. And what we are doing here, we are replacing hash, meaning that this is not going to work because hash does not exist in this particular string of colors. So we need to go back to where we have our color picker. So our color picker also has a value called format. We're going to set the format to be X. So once we set the format to be X, any value that has been set from this particular color picker will be returned as X. Then once we get the hex value, the hexadecimal value, we take it out and return a new color without the hexes. And that should be good enough for us to do what we want to do here right now. Okay, so if you see this now, let's do this. Cool. So we are returning hex. So we're returning the hex with the hash. In this line, we are taking out the hash and we're returning it without the hash. Amazing. Let's create another state here that's going to hold our new colors. So it's going to hold our new color platelets, right? The new set that we have currently. And you'll see the reason why we need a new state in a bit. So we have new color, and I'm going to say if there's a new color, right? So we just want to do some comparison here. So new colors, which is plural, is just going to be equals to all the colors we have, right? All the colors we have currently from the user, or from all the colors that was generated for the user, right? And once we have the whole colors, then we say new colors, right? Which is a plural of what we just created. For each of the index, it's just gonna be equal to the new color, right? And if so, then we're gonna set our new color platelets to new colors. So this will all make sense in a bit right now. Let me format this, and if you come here and say const, let's say let's log color palette. There's an error here. This should be log, and let's see this one more time. Okay, so we have empty colors, and let's quickly do this. Yeah, we change the first value, and we change the second value, and we change it again for the third time. So now, like, what this is doing right now is this. If we could see this properly, so we have an array, right, containing 5 different colors. Yeah, and when the particular color is being changed, we want to be able to identify by the index, right, which of the color was changed, right? And by identifying the index of which color was changed, we are going to use the new value we have and update that particular color by its index directly. So that's what we're currently doing here. So once you change the color, since right now we have the index of 0, our array starts from 0, right? So once we change this to this particular hex, it updates the first value in our array. Now let me do it for something else. Let's say the second value here, index of 1, index of 2. So let's say we want to make this color, right? Now this is what's going to change to. Remember, the particular color we have here is just 1919B12, but this is set to FFF, what we currently have here. Yeah, so that's just what we're just trying to do. So if this is all set, we're gonna set our new instance, right? Our new color instance to color, and I think that should do the whole trick for us right now to do this. Let's open this up real quick, reload the page. Okay, so if you come here, click on this, change this to green. Yeah, the background changes to green real quick. And now we're just updating. Now this last line I added here, which is just set color instance to color, it's basically going to be the value that we are passing in from here, right? So since we are updating this value, update new color, since we're updating new color and setting the instance, right, to the color that was chosen. So what we are trying to do here, right, in essence is this. We want to show the user in a visualized way, right? When the user chooses a particular color, we want to show the user how it looks like in the background directly without redirecting the user to the new color platelet, right? Okay, let me again and show you what I mean. So currently we have some colors here, right? And let's say the user wants to change this color. Let's click on this. We have some values. You have the color wheel and the color pickers here. You could create a new color if you want. Let's say we want to choose something like this. We want the user to be able to visualize on the background too, not just on the. That's why we are changing the background and we are setting the color instance, right, outside this particular if statement here. Now, that is how we do that. So if you choose a particular color, choose the next color, that does the trick for us. The next thing we need to do now is once the user clicks outside the color picker, we want to redirect the user, right, to the new color platelet that you choose. And we're going to also keep the background color intact. And for us to do that, we have to set up the hook I spoke about earlier. Okay, so let's go back to the side and go back to our hook. So our hook will just be called use click outside TSX. Yeah, we could just make this TSX. And this is just setting the ref and use effect. When we click outside, add an event listener on click. Then once we click outside, we could use it for any function we want. But for us, we want to use it to close this particular modal, which is basically setting the show color picker to false. Okay, cool. So let's quickly do that. So you go back to color platelet and format this. Okay, so the first thing is first we need to create our ref, right? It's just gonna be equal to use click outside. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to use this particular hook we just created, and use click outside is just going to take in a particular, let's just call this function on click. Let's on click outside and click outside, and let's quickly create the function up here. So what we want to do is this. We want to, okay, so do this on click, an arrow function, right, and this, and we're just going to say set show color picker, right, to false. Like that's just what we want to do first. Just set it to false. And let's quickly look at what we have. Let's refresh the page one more time. Okay, so once we click on the color picker, we click outside, this should set it to false. Okay, this doesn't work for us. So let's see this, why this doesn't work. So we have a color. Okay, so we have the click outside. So the reason why it won't work because we are not making use of the ref yet. And the ref, we're just gonna bind the ref to the container, right, of our picker. Where is it here? Yeah, I think this should be it. We're gonna bind it to here. We're gonna say the ref, right? We're gonna reference this, then it's just gonna be equal to this ref we just have up there. So what this means is once you click anywhere outside this parent, we should close picker. Let's refresh this and this should work. Okay, cool. We have this and we click on this, click outside, click this. Now we can click inside. It's not going to affect it, it's not going to close it because of the ref, right? The ref is basically looking for any event outside this particular container. Once you click outside, it closes. Yeah, so we've been able to add that. So once you click this, it closes, click this, it closes, click this, it closes. Amazing. So let's just choose on that color here. Let's just choose something green. Let's come here, let's choose something red. Let's change the color to something grayish or this silver. Cool. Let's just drag it. Or let's just leave it the way it is. Now, mind you, if you refresh the page, this particular color you just choose, right, won't be saved, right? Because what will be added there now is the old value. Because remember, we are reading from the params directly to create this color platelet. So the next thing we need to do is once the user chooses a particular color, right? Once you choose it from the color picker, we want to persist that particular color you choose. We want to persist, right, by redirecting the user, or let's say routing dot replace that particular route with the new color hex. Yeah, let's quickly do that. So for us to do that, we are gonna go up here and say we're gonna do it inside this guy. And what we're gonna say here is kind of straightforward. We just say const our new route is just gonna be equal to our new color, because at this point we have our new color platelet, right? And it will just be saved in an array, right? And we're just gonna join it to strings, right, by dashes, and we're just gonna navigate, right? I think before we navigate, let's just import router from use router. Yeah, that should do the trick for us. And we're just gonna say router dot navigate. Okay, so I think something is wrong. Use router from next router, next navigation. We're just gonna use some next navigation here. Cool. Next navigation, come down into component. We want to push the user to, I think we're just gonna use replace, and replace is going to take the user to our new color params and the router. So this is kind of straightforward to do. New route replaces the route, takes you to this part. Okay, let's wait for this to load up and make this larger. What's the error? Router was not mounted. Okay, so let's just quickly restart our server, and let's just say yarn dev and okay, and stop this from running. And we just open a new tab and say localhost 3000 and wait for that to load up. Okay, so our server is up again, and let's just go back to the generate page. Okay, so we have this colors all set up, and let's see this. So once you choose this particular color and we close it, this is refreshing the whole page, and cool, it says this page cannot be found. Okay, so you could say one thing is working, and this is taking us to color. I think this should be colors. Let's check if I'm correct. Let's quickly add an S here, right, and say S. Yeah, okay, so cool. So that works for us. So we could just say when you pick this color, we want this color to be this particular blue, right? And click on it. It changes only the background for now. We are not being routed to this particular color yet, but once we change it, notice how this changes. Now let me do it for that color. Let's do it for this one. Let's say we want to make this red, this particular kind of red, and once we close this, changes the value. That works for us. That works amazing. So we'll see how we could actually state the state directly and redirect the user, right, with Nextjs. And now there's an issue. I don't know if you saw it. Let's quickly hit a particular color. If you choose the hex value, right, if you click on a particular hex value and you try opening a color picker and you clicked outside the color picker, right, you didn't pick any color, the redirect is still happening. So let's quickly see how we could actually fix that. And one way of fixing that right now is just for us to say, just use an if statement here inside where we are redirecting the user, right? So if we could just say if new color platelet or length, like if there's already a new color platelet that has been set and updated, then and only then are we gonna route the user. Else, just set it to false, right? So if it has been set, because color platelet is gonna be empty, right, for the initial sort of the application. But if you click on it and you do not choose anything, you close it back, it's just gonna set to false. So with this particular condition now, we've been able to like fix that error. When you close it, it redirects us. When you close it, it doesn't redirect us. When you close it, it doesn't redirect us. Cool. So we've been able to add that, and I'll say so far our application is looking good. And let's take a look at this again and see it on mobile. It's looking good on mobile. We can copy on mobile. Amazing. We can also drag and drop on mobile. We can lock, and we can do all our features are actually working on mobile. Amazing. So this is mobile responsive and also very fast. So if you got into this part of the video, okay, also if you've watched to this particular extent of the video, I'll ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment, make sure you like the video, make sure you share to support the channel and to make the channel grow. And I really appreciate that from you. Without wasting much time, let's continue building out our features. We are not done yet. Okay, so the next feature we need to start thinking about to build now is, let's go to the hosted one again. So we have all our features here working. And the next feature we need to start thinking about now is this top part where we have these guys and to save to Supabase and exports, and also to see our saved color platelet. Okay, so let's go back to our code and how we're going to do that. Okay, so now let's quickly work on this heading parts where we have the space and other icons. So to quickly do that, let's quickly go back to the palette components and see what we could do. Okay, so the palettes represent each and every of this item. Okay, so let's quickly move into the application and see how we are going to add this heading and also the event listener to change the color on press of spacebar. Okay, so first off, let's quickly go back to our page, right? And this is our slug, and so yeah, we're just gonna say reorder. We want to have another container on top of here, and the container is just gonna be serving as what we need here right now, right? And we're just gonna apply some styles here, and that was kind of straightforward. And the next thing we could also do here, we're just gonna say this should have a paragraph, right? And and the paragraph, let's format this again. The paragraph just gonna be there, and we're setting the opacity of 0.5 hidden, and this, let's make this wider and see if we could see this, right? Yeah, let's refresh the page again and see what we currently have. Refresh the page and we have this. Press the space bar to generate. Okay, amazing. And let's format this properly, and we need to add more stuff here, because if you see the already finished one, we have some icons and icons that are being shown here right now. So for us to do that, we need to create some components. The first component we're going to create here is going to be for the view, right? The quick view of the color, and yeah, we're going to call it quick view, right? And it's just going to comprise of let me show you what the quick view does. So the quick view is just going to comprise of a modal from Shadcn component directly, and we are going to be showing different colors and the hex values, and you could also get to like see the values and scroll and see the different values in HSL, RGB, hex, and also the name. Okay, so for us to do that, let's go to quick view, which is just going to be a regular component. And number one thing we need for quick view, right, it's just going to be, okay, so we have the quick view, and we also need to create other components, right? I don't want this component to be doing too much logic, so we're going to say quick view dialog, right? So this will be the dialog directly, and the quick view dialog basically is just going to be a regular dialog, right? And in the regular dialog, we are also going to be showing a drawer, because if you go into Shadcn, if you remember when we were installing our components from Shadcn UI, we installed the drawer and we also installed the dialog, right? So if we're on mobile, we want to show the drawer. If we're on desktop, we want to show the dialog. So I'll just copy this piece of code and paste it here. It's kind of self-explanatory of what's happening here right now, right? We are importing the dialog, importing the button, we are importing the use media query. We are using this particular media query, right? The hook, right, says if we're in desktop, we just want to show dialog, else we are on mobile, right? We want to show a drawer. So quick view doesn't exist yet. Let's just hide this for now. And okay, cool. Quick view doesn't exist for now. So we're going to make use of this particular component, view dialog, and we're going to use it inside our page, inside our slug page, right? And let's quickly go down here and say this. So we have quick view. Just say this is just going to be view dialog, and let's import this real quick, see how we could import it. Cool. And let's go into the view dialog again and see what's supposed to happen there. It's supposed to accept props of colors, which is all the colors, right? And we're going to use the colors and pass it down to the quick view. And for now, let's just see what we currently have. Okay, so if you refresh the page again, so let's just create a new color platelet and see what we have right now. So if you look at this, we have a view here. Once we click on this, we have quick view, right? And that is actually working. And I think if you take a look at this again, okay, let's make it wider again and see. Take a look at this. We have two cancel, but we just want only one, right? And for us to do that, we can do it by going into our dialog, right? And we are going to take out just close, dialog close, and look for where we're using dialog close and take it out. We don't need it anymore, and also take it out from the export. That way we won't have the automatic dialog close. We want to actually close it with our own particular state we already set here. Let's refresh the page again and see. Okay, so view still persists. Okay, I think let's just take this to the side and open up VS Code again. Take this to the side, and okay, let's just see this and go up here and say our view dialog, right? We have close, right? And we have the quick view. We have the quick view text. And let's refresh the page all over again and see. This is weird. Okay, so let's just look at this. So if you see right now, we have two close buttons, and we just want to make use of our own button that we actually added. And for us to quickly, let's just take this to the side, and we're going to go into dialog comment directly and look for this. This should be what we take out. And one more thing we could do here, we could change the particular background color for the overlay, right? This is just what we take out, right? So we just want to change the background color for the overlay, and this should be the overlay. We don't want it to be black of 80. We're just going to use an X value like this. Yeah, so with that, now we could say, let's take a look now. If we take a look at view, okay, let's refresh the page so we see this real quick. Amazing. So we say quick view, we have access to quick view, and we could close this and open this and close this. Amazing stuff. We've been able to add that, And the next thing I want to do right now is to also add. So let's quickly go to the hosted one again and say, let's go here. I actually want to add the whole dialog we need for now. So let's go down here and say we have the quick view dialog, we have the quick, we have the save, right? And we also have the export. So let's quickly add the save dialog too. So the save dialog is also going to be similar code as what we already have, right? And we're just going to call this save. It's going to be a dialog CSS, right? And this is just going to be this. And so we're making use of the form directly, which it does not exist for now, but we're going to create it. So we could quickly create this also, so we could take away this error. We're just going to say save from the JSX, same form, save platelets dash form, right? And this is just going to be RFC save platelet form. And let's just rename this so we could use it properly. Save platelet form and save dialog. We should have access to this. And at this point, we are going to quickly show this dialog, right? I'm going to show the dialog on page. Let's go into page, and this should be the part. And we're also going to say save dialog. Save dialog is just going to show up here. And I think, yeah, that works for us. Let's quickly go back to localhost and refresh our page and see. And I think we should have access to colors, because this components need colors. And let's go up and see if we have access to colors. Okay, yeah, we have access to a variable called colors, and we're going to pass it down as props down to each and every of the components right now. So we have colors. We also need to pass colors to save dialog for now. And if you go into the save dialog, what's just happening here is similar to what we already have. We're just importing the dialog from Shadcn UI, right? And we're just showing it, and we're showing the drawer on mobile, and we're also showing the dialog on desktop. Pretty straightforward, right? And for the trigger, we're just showing an icon which we are importing from Lucid React icon library, right? Which comes with Shadcn by default, so you don't have to install that. So automatically you have access to this. And this SVG are just coming from the SVG assets we already have, which you also have available to in the video description. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's quickly go back to what we're doing and let's see what we have right now. So we have view and save. So if you say save, we have save color platelets. We'll be able to set up this dialog. We'll be able to set up view. We're going to work on this in a bit. I just want to set this up, so we'll just quickly do it. Okay, so once we have this, the next thing to do, I think this is going away from the page right now. Let's just make this. Let's go back to page and fix this. This is supposed to be inside one container, and take each of them right now and say, okay, no, you guys should just be in a container together. And I want you guys to be flex items, obviously, and I want you guys to be center, right? Okay, cool. And let's see what we currently have here again, and let's format this again. And yeah, I think we come. So if you notice now, we don't have the press the space bar to generate new color here, because we are hiding it, right? When we are on smaller screens. So just to replace that, we just need to put a button, right, from Shadcn, and the button is just going to be a regular button from Shadcn. We're just going to say a button of a class of just this hidden, and this button basically is just going to hold the text of generate. In the minute we're going to bind it now, just going to hold generate. Interesting, cool. So let's format this real quick and see what we currently have. There's an error. What's the error? Okay, let's say this. It has no closing. Oh shit. Okay, oh, this is okay, cool. So let's format this properly. Refresh this page, and okay, so we just have a button that says generate. And well, if we go into desktop mode, we have the text showing the space bar to generate new color platelet. Okay, cool, that works for us right now. This button does not do anything. And okay, so I think what we could quickly do first is to generate a new color platelet, right? And to do that, we are going to create a new function, and I think I'll just bring in the code and we'll go through the code together. Okay, it's cool. We need to import these types from React, and let's quickly do that. Import the types from React. Okay, amazing stuff. So random, we also have to import the random color, right? What we're using before to create random colors. Okay, so it's pretty much straightforward what we're trying to do here. So what we're doing is we just create a new function, right, that accepts a particular event. So it's neither gonna be an HTML div element or a mouse event. So mouse button event, and we're checking to see the event type is equals to key down. Then we're running some part of the code. So basically what we're doing here, we're just checking if the user presses the space bar. right? And if it's so, then we're going to generate a particular random color and also try to get all the colors and the log hex and the random colors and put them into a particular color. And if the length is greater than or equals to 5, then we redirect the user to the new color route, right? Or the new color route that was created. Now, to see this in action, let's quickly fix something real quick here. Let's say const navigate. We could call this navigate. Navigate is to use router navigation from use router navigation. And yeah, so now how we're going to make use of this right now, we're going to say on key down of the parent, which is this particular component. So once the user press the space bar, we want to call this particular function with the event, and the event we want to pass down is key down. So now let's go back to localhost and refresh our page and see what we have. Okay, so let's open this. So what we want to say is once we press the key, the space bar, right, the space bar key, we want to generate a new color, and we press this, it doesn't work, right? Okay, so now it doesn't work again because this particular container isn't actually like it's not actually the active, right? It's not actually the active container when it comes to like active tab, right? When it comes to the active tab on the browser. So for us to make sure that works, we're just gonna say this parent here is just gonna have a tab index of 0, right? And with this right now, let's refresh one more time. Okay, so this should be the first active item on this page. So once we press the space bar, this should generate a new color, right? Now, cool. It says page could not be found. That means our function is actually working, right? So what we could say here, we could go up here and say, don't take us to colors, take us to colors plural. Since that is our since we're just gonna route to colors, since that's our dynamic route. So let's go back here and go to localhost again. Open this up. We click on start the generator. Loads up. 1, 2. Okay, cool. And we click on the tab. Cool. Click on the space bar. We are generating new colors, and new colors, and new colors, and new colors, and new colors, as you can see right now. And these are all changing in real time. Now this is changing. We could have infinite color platelets depending on your test and depending on the kind of colors you're looking for. Amazing. And if you notice how reactive this particular application is, like our text on the color platelet itself are reactive, right? They are changing in real time based on the states, which is very reactive, which is the beauty of React. So let's quickly go back here and say one more cleanup we could do here. We could say, because right now if you click on generate, nothing happens, right? We haven't binded this particular generate function to the button. And for us to do that, right, we just need to bind an event here. We just say on click of this particular button, we want this to take in the event, and what we want this to do is we want this to handle generate new color platelet, and we're going to pass in the event, right? And once we have the event, we want to pass in a particular event listener, which is just going to be click, because that's what we'll be doing, right? So we'll be clicking. If you remember, what we did for this other one was on key down. We're passing down the key down. So once the space bar is pressed, we generate a new color. But for this one now, we want to generate a new color only when we click on generate, right? And because that is how we want the user to do it on mobile. So if you click generate, this should generate new colors for us. Let's see, this should work. One more time and see. Okay, generate a new color, we can generate a new color, and yeah, cool. So that works for mobile. And let's make this larger, and we've been able to add spacebar to generate a new color. So I'll say the next thing we need to do now, let's just go into here and work on the quick view. And once we're done, we'll move into the save. Okay, so the quick view should be quite very fast to do. So this is just where each and everything will be happening, right? So we're just gonna call this quick view, and quick view is just gonna be this for now. Let's just put this quick view, and quick view is gonna be equal to a quick view is gonna be used inside our quick view dialog. And let's just put this right now since we need it. Since we need this right now, and we're gonna say quick view is just gonna come from quick view, and that's in the colors. Okay, quick view. Yeah, we're inside quick view. We have access to colors inside our quick view, and we're just gonna type this to say our colors are just gonna be array of strings. Okay, cool. Okay, first thing first, put in a new state here, say selector, and let's just import it from React real quick. Use state, and in use state we are also gonna say, so this selector, right, will just be used for, let me show you what we're gonna use that for. Let me show you what we're gonna use that for. And this is it right now. We're gonna use it for this that was selected, right? So this is what we're gonna use, this new state we just created. So let's build this particular component right now. And quick view, right, just gonna be like this, and we are gonna say this particular component is just gonna have the background color of selected color. Selected color right now is just equal to the color, right, of the index of 0. So colors is just an array containing all our colors, right? And we just want to set this particular div to the background color of the first color, right, the index. And we could also add some class here and say, we're gonna add some class and say class name is just gonna be this. Class name is just gonna be this for now. And yeah, I think, yeah. So once you click on quick view, we have this particular color, which is the first index. Okay, so this is working all fine and good. Amazing. And we have this, and let's add more contents here right now. Okay, so if you go back here and see this, we have each of the color names, the hex, and different values that has been set, right? We have all the values, and we have the name, we have the hex, we have the HSL, like in different conversion, right, for the particular color. I think let's just put this here real quick. To undo the whole of that, we're just gonna say this. And for us, let's quickly put this inside a React fragment to help us visualize this properly, right? So inside here, we're just gonna put the whole conversion inside here, and I'll explain what we're trying to do here. So first off, let's import colorod, right? Colorod gives us the ability to extend our color, and also I'm also going to use the extend the plugin name which we used earlier, and also extend it so we could have the names. Cool. And just to show you what we have here, we have just a div, right, showing us the name. And for the name, we're saying, okay, show us the name, right? Then for the hex, we're saying colors, can you convert this color to the hex? Then for the selected color, right, colors, can you also change this to the bit string? That's just what we're doing. So okay, so if you open this real quick, we have this color, as you can see here, quick view. And okay, let's see what we have here. Quick view. Okay, interesting. We have quick view, and we have this particular color, the color name, the hex, the HSL, the RGB. And if you want, you could actually add more colors color conversions to your own project, but I think this should just serve for us right now. And we're also adding an over state, like when you are over this particular container, we just have some background, just this background, and everything here is pretty much just Tailwind classes, which are kind of like self-explanatory of what we're doing. Okay, this doesn't look good at all, and we're gonna fix that in a bit. Let's format this now, just to show you how this works. If we change the color to index of 2, we should have the dark magenta, right, showing up here. Cool. So we have the dark magenta showing up here right now, and this is supposed to show the text of white, but it's showing black. If you remember, we have a utility function we are using to do that. So let's just quickly do that. We're just gonna create a variable called colorlumi, and colorlumi is just gonna import our particular utility function, and we're just gonna use the function here. Let's view. Cool. Let's quickly import this, and yeah, I think we've imported it, and we can use colorlumi and basically what we're gonna say with colorlumi is, we're gonna say colorlumi is just, okay, since this is just a string literal, just gonna say lumi, right? If colorlumi is equals to white, we want text of white, text of black. Now let's view this, right? And this doesn't work yet. Okay, yeah, this works now, right? So it's taking the right value. So if we let's generate a new color where we have black and white text, let's quickly view this. We have white text. Correct. This works. Amazing. So one thing we need to do, if you see our design here, our modal doesn't look like this. Looks very weird, and we are just gonna fix that real quick, right? So we have to take out every padding from this side and also the padding on the top. Okay, so let's quickly go to dialog and see how we could do that right now. We also have to change some values here again. And okay, so let's look for every padding we have here, and we don't want the padding of 6 anymore. We're gonna take out the padding of 6 and close this up and refresh the page. Okay, quick view, and yeah, amazing, we have this, right? Okay, this actually works for us. Click here, save it. Let's also have something similar. Yeah, that works for us. And if you look at this, we don't actually have the overflow here. Let's see how we could take that out. To take out this overflow, right, we are just gonna go into our quick view and format this real quick, and also format this real quick. And we have a class called no scroll bar, and let's quickly fix that. If we go to our global.css, we could just create a new layer. And so what this is saying basically is this is the class. We could use this in our components, and this is just going to take out the scroll, right, the scroll indicator or the scroll bar on the browser. And once we refresh the page, we shouldn't see the scroll anymore. Amazing, nice. So we have the scroll, and the user can also scroll down if you wish to, or if you want to scroll down. Okay, so that's just one of that. And let's format this again, turn this up a little bit. I think we're pretty much getting there. A new component outside this particular div. So what this is just gonna do for us is this. I think we could just paste it here and go through the code. What it does is this: we just have a container, right, and we're mapping through the colors, which is an array. And in each of the colors, right, we're setting the selector and setting the background color, have some CSS classes. And if the selector color is equals to the particular color that was chosen, we are going to show this particular indicator. And the indicator is based on particular Lumi color we're also using here, right? Passing in the color, and yeah, pretty much straightforward. Let's format this and see what we currently have. If you go up and take a look at this, let's just make this index of 0 again, since we already have a way we could select the color. So we're using this of the set color to set the particular color. So once we set this color basically change, and click view, set this, and set that, and set this, and set this, and set that, and set this, and set this. That does the whole magic for us. So let's just generate a new color again. Generate, and generate. View. Amazing. So little attention to details again. Once this is black background or something that is above 0.3 lumi based on the function we created earlier, right, we're going to show white, right? So just little attention to details like that can make your application stand out. And I think with this we could actually say we are done with quick view. Let's just change the color else, and yeah, that works for us. I want to see how this looks like on mobile, if it's actually working the way it's supposed to work. So let's say quick view, this comes up as a drawer, and amazing. So this works, right? Let's say this. I think we could work on the save platelet. We could work on the save platelet, but before we do that, I want to do something else. I want to work on the exports. So we want the users to be able to export a color platelet, right? And let's just quickly do that first before we go into the save. Okay, to do that, we also need a dialog, right? So we're gonna create a new component here that's gonna be export dialog.tsx, right? And what this is just gonna do for us is it's just gonna be a direct dialog, and we need to create another component which we're gonna call export. This is just gonna be the main component which we're going to import into dialog. And inside the export platelet, it's just going to be a regular function. It's just going to be a regular component, and we're going to call it export. And let's rename this export platelet. And I think we say this and this and this. Oh, amazing stuff, right? And this. So what we just have here are just links, right? They are just icons that have been imported. Let's just take out all this and click for now. So this should be pretty much straightforward for us. And we also need to import these icons that we're using here right now from the icon library that's being used from Shadcn directly. So that way, when you go to export dialog, it throws you some error, right? It says export platelet does not exist. I think that should exist now. And React to PDF. This is what we're using to save the PDF, right? And I think we don't even need this here. Yeah, cool. So let's see what we currently have. We have this, and we have this, and we have each of our components. And we could just quickly go into our page here and say page is just going to be equal to this. And we also need something else here before save. I think it should just be after save. After save, we want the export. Let's spell that properly. Export dialog. And once we go into the export dialog, we're just showing the regular dialog like we've been doing. We're showing an icon with exports, and if it's on mobile, we just want to show a drawer. Okay, kind of self-explanatory of what we're doing. Okay, let's take this to the side and take a look at what we currently have again. Refresh the page. Okay, cool. So we say export. Once we click on export, we'll be able to see all our icons. We could export as PDF, image, and SVG. So this doesn't really do anything right now because we haven't added the logic for it right now. So for us to start adding the logics, let's quickly install a new library. And the first library we need to install React to PDF, right? React to PDF. I think this should be it. And React to PDF, we're just gonna add this to, we're just gonna use this, right? And say React.pdf. We just want to install React to PDF. And the next one we need to install here too is also, we also need to install HTML to image, right? HTML to image npm package. And this is what we're going to use to save our images as an image, which is just PNG or SVG. Okay, cool. So we have HTML to image. We're just going to wait for this other one to be done and copy this real quick and wait for this to be done. This is done. Let's also install HTML to image and let's go into color platelets, right? And okay, so while this is installing, let's quickly start working on all these functions. So the first function here, we're just going to say undo this is equal to, it's going to be equal to this. Undo copy URL is going to be equal to this, and inside undo copy URL, what we just want to do here is we just want to be able to copy, right? You just want to copy the particular URL, and we're using the particular hook we created previously, right? So we are reusing it here also. Okay, so we're importing this and we're using it inside there. And another thing we need to import here, we need to import the toast because we have to show it toast, right? We have to show it toast when we copy or when we export our images. So toast, we don't need toast, we just need the use toast and inside here now. So what we just say is once the user clicks on this copy URL, we want to just do this. So let's go back to our browser and reload it. Okay, so once we click on this, we get an error. It says path name is not defined. Okay, cool. So we need to get the path name of the particular application and use path name, right? It's just a particular hook from Nextjs. Let's quickly look at it. It's similar to the one we used previously, but it's a client hook that lets you read the current URL path name. So we just want to get the current URL path name, and that's what we're going to be doing, right? And let's just quickly import this from React navigation. Okay, so once you do that, I think we should be fine. Let's refresh this page real quick. So once you export, you click on this URL copy to clipboard, right? URL copy to clipboard. So that works. So if you go here now and say we paste this, right? This is basically pasting the path name. I think once we'll be able to host this, you can just concatenate your particular URL or the particular hosted URL, right? And update it with this particular path name, and you could actually share this URL with your friends and people to check out the color platelet. Okay, let's undo this for now. So one more thing we need to do is when we click this, we want to close the modal, right? We don't want the modal to be open after the action has been processed. So for us to do that, let's quickly go back to our export dialog and let's see what we have here. And we have some states, which is open and set open, and set open, right? Set open is being passed down to our platelet, and we are just going to accept the property here. Now let's just accept the whole props that we're just going to set open, and we're also going to try to type this. So this is just going to be type of any, and we're just going to type this, and we're just going to type each of the props that are being passed down. And we're just going to say, since set open has been passed down here, right? Once the user has clicked on this particular URL copied, so once the user have copied the URL, we're just going to set open to false, and that should be it. Okay, let's quickly see it. Once you copy this, set it to false. Okay, and click on this, set it to false. Amazing. Okay, so the next one we need to do, let's start thinking about how we're going to export to PDF. Remember, we already installed the library to export as PDF, right? And I think the first things we could do, we could just, okay, before we do the PDF, let's quickly work on the images first, which is the SVG and the PNG. Let's just import some values. We'll be there in a bit. So we want to import to PNG and also want to import to SVG from HTML to image, and And based on the documentation, this is how you do it, right? So basically we have a function that says export SVG. We're using a use callback from React, and we're gonna say export SVG, right? So if the current target is equals to null return, then that means if this is null, this is gonna return, nothing's gonna happen, right? Then if not, we're gonna say to SVG takes in the current dot then, since it's a promise, then convert it to an SVG, then download it. Then if there's an error, we're just gonna log the error for now. And once we're done, just close this, right? That's just what we're gonna be doing with the library. So let's go to export SVG, and we're also gonna do the same thing for exporting as PNG, since the library already allows us to export as SVG and also as PNG. So export to image, export to SVG. Let's go down here and see what we have. If you see SVG, we're exporting to SVG. We also have to export to as image. Now this won't actually work because this target ref, we haven't set it yet, right? And we are just accepting the properties here. And from the dialog here, we accepting target ref coming in from here, and target ref is supposed to be passed in from the page directly. So let's go to page of our color page, and so now we already binded the properties to image and SVG. For simplicity, right, I just want to do something here, and let's just collapse this. So if you see how to make use of okay, so if you see how, so basically we just how to actually use the React to PDF library, right? If you look at the documentation real quick again, let's quickly go back and see what we had. So this is how we basically do it. You could use the hook directly, and I think let's go to the playground. Okay, let's go to the hook. Actually, we just want to use the hook. Use PDF hook, right? And the use PDF hook is what we're gonna be using to like export our platelets. And just let's just quickly do that. And okay, so in our page here, we're just gonna say to PDF. This is coming from the use PDF, right? We're just gonna say to PDF and target ref. Now for each of, let's close this and close this. Okay, so it says use PDF is not defined. We're just gonna go here up here and say we're just gonna import you, and that should be fine. React to PDF, and it can't resolve module. React to PDF, can't find module. Okay, we actually installed it. Let's just confirm we installed it, right? React to PDF, and let's go into our package.json and see what we have here. React to PDF, React to PDF, React to PDF, React to PDF. Let's just look for it. React PDF. Okay, so I feel we actually installed the wrong package. We're supposed to install React to PDF. Okay, so let's quickly look for the React to PDF library, the right library, React to PDF. Yeah, I think this should be what we should have installed. Yeah, I think this should be it, exactly. Okay, so we installed the wrong package, and let's just fix that. And we could take out this since we won't be needing it anymore. Just take out this particular one and say go into here and say use PDF. And while this is installing, let's continue building. Oh, okay, we have to wait for this to install. And okay, let's just comment this out and continue what we're working on. So what I was trying to explain was each and every of the libraries we are using to export these values, right, or to export the color platelets, they need a ref. They need a ref in React, right, to reference a part of the page they are going to take a snapshot, or a part of the page they are going to export, or they are going to turn to, for example, it's going to turn the HTML to an image, or it's going to turn the HTML to a PDF, or it's going to turn the HTML to a PNG. So it needs a particular ref, right? So instead of creating different ref, we're just going to make use of the ref that is being exposed from use PDF directly, right? We're going to make use of this ref for all our exporting, and everywhere we need the reference of the container we want to export. And that being said, let's quickly go down here and go into this export. We're going to say passing ref, the target ref in the export dialog. And if you go inside the export dialog, we're accepting the target ref, and we are passing it down to the platelet is accepting the ref, and inside the ref it's using the ref, right, to export. So if the ref.current, since it's going to be a regular reference, right, we're exporting it. We're going to export the image, or we're going to export the SVG, depends on what we want to do. So we're just using one ref to serve for all our exporting. So let's go back to our page, and see what we have here. We also need to say, okay, so let's go up here and see what we have here. We already have this installed. So this to PDF right now is a function, right, which we could use to generate the PDF directly. And we are going to pass it down to this component. We're going to say handle, we're going to just call it handle export PDF, right? And pass it into the dialog here and accepts it. And once he accepts it, we also have to pass it down to the export, right, which is what we're doing here. Takes in this and this component, accept this, and once you come down here, right, we're going to use the export handler. And the PDF export handler, basically what it's going to do, it's just going to make use of the function we are passing down as a props, right? It's just going to make use of the function we're passing down as a prop to export the values. So now we have an error. It says we can't find export PDF handler, right? And the reason is because we haven't set that up. So since we want to do some things after the particular download or the particular button has been clicked for the PDF, we need to use that function inside another function, right? And we're just going to say export PDF handler, calling this function we're passing that as prop, which is coming from the page, which is to PDF, right? Export from the library. Then we're going to show it toast, and we're going to set this to false. Let's refresh the page and see what we have. Okay, so we're right back, and let's quickly look at this. So when we export as PDF, exported successfully. Let's export as an image. Let's also export as an SVG. It doesn't do anything for us right now. Okay, so we just have to debug and see what's wrong. We click on URL copied, click on PDF exported, and let's take it to the side and see what we currently have again. To debug this should be quite easy, right? Because we should have access to the target ref. There's an error, right? There's an error that says canary property of one document at pixel. Okay, interesting. We have an error. Okay, let's go back here and see what's our target ref. The target ref is coming from Spat. And let's go back to the home page. Let's go back to the color page and export and format this one directly. Let's see the ref right now. So the reason why it won't work right now is because we just have the target ref and we're passing it down, but we haven't added the target ref, right, to any part of our application. And what we could just say ref right now is just gonna be equal to our target ref, because when you use ref, they use ref from React, you need to bind it to a particular item on your DOM. So we've binded this to a ref, and yeah, I think that should be the reason why we had the error. Let's take this to the side and open this real quick and export. Okay, cool. So once we open this up, we click on export. Let's export as PDF. Okay, cool. We have platelets, and our platelet contains all our colors. Amazing. So if you come here again and say we want to export as a PNG, export our image, export as an SVG, it also exports this particular part of our as an SVG. Amazing stuff. I think with that, we just generate new colors, and yeah, everything is kind of working right now. We could export, we could copy, we could export as PDF, successful. We have our toast all coming up. We also export this as an SVG, and that works for us. Yeah, let's go back to the exports platelets. Let's just take a look one more time and see what we could clean up here right now. PDF exported. We gonna make this work because we also need to add the toast, right, for exporting the images. And for do that, let's just say this particular function is supposed to undo image. So we're just going to say image exported successfully. For this part, we're also going to say if it's okay. I think what we could do to make this really work, after downloading, right, we're just going to say SVG was exported successfully. And since it's a promise, right, only and only if it's successful, that's when we're going to show this toast image exported successfully. Yeah, so with that little fix, let's quickly take a look again. So if you export, let's quickly export an SVG. Once you export, we get the toast. Once you export the image, we get the image. Yeah, okay, so cool. That's little attention to detail to add. So I think at this point, we are actually doing pretty much well. And the next thing we need to quickly do here is we need to give the user the ability, right, to save their color platelets to Supabase. And that is what we're going to do next, right? And let's just take a look one more time and see what we want to do. So this should go to 100%. And once we click on save, open up a form that takes in the title and the text area here, right? And we're just gonna save to our database, which in our case we are using Supabase. If we try saving without putting any value, we have some validation that's just been handled directly by Shadcn form. So let's just quickly take a look at that. Shadcn React form. Shadcn React form, right? It says forms are tricky, one of common in web application, but also one of the most complex, well-designed HTML forms. Yeah. So this is just saying, they just make it more easier for you to make use of forms, right, in your React application. So for us, in our own case, we're also going to be using the form, right, to simplify stuff for us right now. So remember, we have the save dialog. That is where we're going to put in our forms. And we are just going to show, okay, save platelet form. And save platelets form is just going to be save platelet form. And this is what we're just going to be showing here. Let's go back to this part. Save platelet form. Okay, amazing. Okay, so for the save platelet form, what we're just going to be doing here is very, very straightforward. We're just going to put in the form directly from Shadcn, how they actually advise you to make use of it, right? So for us, we're just going to import a bunch of values from Shadcn here. We're going to import the form. We're going to import the inputs. We're also importing the text area, and we also have to import Zod, which should just be used for the validation of the data. And we need to import some toast, right? Because we also want to show you toast. And let's just set up our schema, right? So our schema for what we're doing, we just need two data, which is the title is going to be a string minimum. We just want two titles, and we're just going to say title must be, let's name this real quick. Title must be at least 2 characters. Description must be at least 5 characters. And once we have that, we're one step closer to building out our form. Okay, so this particular form is just going to accept some values right now. This particular form is going to accept some props. It's going to accept the set open because we need it, right? After submitting the form, if it's successful, we want to close the modal. And also, we're also going to be accepting colors, which is all the particular colors for that particular instance we should be sending to the form right, to Supabase to save in our database. Okay, so we could quickly just type our data here. Let's just do this real quick, and this is just gonna be color string set open to this. And yeah, I think we're pretty much getting there. And let's quickly open save dialog. Passing in the colors, or passing in the form, passing in the colors, and we're passing in the set open, right? Okay, cool. And let's go back to the form. Let's start working on the JSX right now. Okay, to work on the JSX, it'll be pretty much straightforward. We just have a form with 2 values, right? And the JSX is just gonna be this. We're just gonna say just return 2 forms, right? Just return 2 form fields. Number 1, our title, and number 2 should just be our description. And let's just put this out for now, and also go up here and say, and also look at the errors we're having right now. Okay, so the error is just being a regular error, because if you go to Shadcn, how they ask us to do it is here. Okay, so we have the form, right? And you also need to pass in the form values. And let's go up here. So this should just be the form value, right? And for our own case, our form value is just going to look something like this. Right, which is just resolving our title and our description. And then this is just going to accept on that function called onSubmit, which is similar to what we have in the documentation here. So let's just copy this function and place it here. So this onSubmit is just going to hold our values. Yeah, amazing. And I think that we will be able to have a form. Now let's see what this error says. Okay, we don't have any error. Amazing stuff, amazing. Format this real quick, and let's just see this. So once we open, I think let's just reload again. Okay, there's an error that says Clerk error. This should be a network error. Let's refresh again, and cool. So once we click on save, we should have this, a platelet title and our platelet description. Very smooth, right? Very straightforward. Let's take this to the side again and see. Okay, that's kind of straightforward for us right now. Okay, so we have this, and we just need a button down here, and we could just put a button for now and take out most of these values, right? And I think this button, we're just gonna use it for state when we are submitting submitting this. And for now, we're also gonna say this should be use state. So we have this, and there is an error. The use state is not defined. Okay, that should not be an error anymore. So we have export this, and we We also have save. We have our save, and let's just quickly do this. Let's just say testing. Go into description and say testing and testing. Let's just put some dummy text here, and inside here we should be able to see our values. Let's say save, right? Yeah, we've been able to save our values, and we have our values. We have the title and we have the description. Okay, so I think at this point the next thing we need to do, we just need to hit Supabase and save that data to Supabase. Then if you remember, we already set up our project with a create client, right? And with a create client, which is just basically the Supabase client, which is what we're just setting here right now. And we're also fetching the Clerk section to get the particular token, and make sure we are using the Clerk section when we are pushing to Supabase to authenticate that this particular user is trying to make the actions on the particular database. Okay, let's quickly go back to Supabase again and see our data. Okay, let's go to supabase.com, and we're gonna start the project. Let's just authenticate again with GitHub. So this should be color clone. We already set up all this from the beginning, and if we go back to the table editor, we just have one table called platelets, and this is the table we're going to be saving all our platelets to, right? And let's go back to our form. So our form, we have title and description, right? So the title and descriptions, let's close this. The title and description are what we're going to save here, and at the same time we're also going to send in the colors, and the user ID will be sent, right? And the ID is just going to be dynamic for this particular, and the ID is going to be dynamic, and the user ID is just going to come from Clerk ID, like we already set, previously, the function to retrieve the user ID. Okay, now let's quickly do that. And the first things first, I just want to make use of the first thing I want us to do is to use Supabase with Typescript. So we could have the type support. Let's quickly open that, and okay, so let's go up here and generating type. So we just want to generate types for our particular database, and we're going to use it in our application directly. So just to give us a very good developer experience, and we're going to generate types. And for us to do that, let's make this dark mode. Yeah, and we'll be using the Supabase CLI to do that. Okay, let's go through documentation together. Typescript support, you can use Supabase to generate. Let me go back, and okay, so it says you could also generate the types from the dashboard, and I think let's just do it from the terminal, right? So let's quickly open a new instance. Let's quickly open a new instance of our terminal. So we're just gonna say npx login, npx Supabase login. Let's log in first. Okay, so it says you could generate an access token. Let's quickly go into here and open this up real quick. We could just click on this link and let's generate a new token. We're gonna call this colors, right? And generate a new token and copy the token and just paste it in our terminal. And yeah, Supabase is logged in. And let's go back to documentation. So we're logged in right now. So the next thing we could say, let's open this properly right now and see. We're just gonna copy this command and say npx Supabase generate types, Typescript, project ID, and the project ID for our particular project could just be gotten from when we go to project settings, and we gonna get the reference ID here, right? And this should be the reference ID, and we're just gonna paste this. Yeah, okay, so we have database types, right? So let's look at the command again. So it's a npx Supabase generate types Typescript, project ID, database types, generate types. I think there's an error on how we did it, but nevertheless we actually have our file here already, right, called database. And if you look at the documentation, it's just supposed to save just one file for us here. Okay, so it's pretty much straightforward, right? And you just see the reason why I wanted us to use the Typescript types for the database right now. Because right now, if you look at this file that was just created from the CLI, we have the public tables, the platelet, right? And we have our colors, created, title, user ID. And we could just use this for auto completion and for a very good user experience. And yeah, let's go back to our application. I think at this point we could close those tabs. We won't be needing them anymore. Yeah, and I think we could also close this. Let's just leave that open for now. If you go back to the clients which we created at the beginning of this particular video, we have our Supabase clients. Right now it's actually not typed, right? and we don't have TypeScript enabled for our Supabase clients. So one simple trick we could just say, we just want to import database, right, from this particular file, because we're already exporting database here. So let's go back to our create client and look at this. Okay, so quick fix should just tell us to import this from, okay, let's just import it manually. So we have database is imported from types. Cool. So this particular database is just going to serve, this particular database type is just going to serve for each and every table we have inside our Supabase. Okay, so this particular database is just going to serve for the tables that's available on Supabase for us, and we will have access to the types in our application directly here. So if we go into the form where we are submitting this data to Supabase, what we could quickly say here is, okay, so since we have the values here, right, so we should be able to import client since we already exported it from here, right? So let's go inside here and say we could just import, let's just say clients for now. That should be clients from Supabase instance. Okay, no, let's undo that again and say we want to import clients, right, from Supabase create clients, the one we created here earlier. Then we want to just access the form value, and at this point what we're gonna do here, we're gonna access the okay, so let's just look at this again. This is actually not working as expected. Let's go back to our database. We have our database there already, and we have all our data. Okay, so let's go back here and see this where we are using the types. Okay, so we are saying create Supabase clients. We just need to pass in this particular types on the client directly, right? And that way all our components will have access to the types for our database. So when we go inside there now, we could automatically have autocomplete, right, for platelet. And if you check Supabase, we only have one table, which is right. And once we have this, once we have this, what we're going to do next is we're going to insert, right? And we're going to insert into this table right now. And just going to say title. Our title is just going to be the values, the title, and description is just going to be, now you can see the autocomplete all working out for us right now, right? Description is just going to be values dot description. So we have autocomplete already here. Then colors, which is coming from the types directly, is just going to be equal to, okay, so let's quickly look at what we have here now. We're accepting colors right now is just going to be in the structure of what we can't really use. Let's comment this out and let's log what color is. Okay, so say the log colors, right? So let's quickly see this. So once you say want to save, right, and okay, so we're trying to log the colors right now, and if you see color, we have an array of string, but we don't want to send this to the database as array of strings. We just want to send them as dash values, so we'll be able to use them on the save platelets, right? So we'll be able to use them on the save platelets as URL directly, like the way this is structured right now. Okay, so the next thing we could do to actually do that, let's just undo and bring back our Supabase client, and our colors is just going to be equal to, just create a new constant here, so just call it new color. New color is going to be equal to our colors, and we're just going to join our colors and say we want to join them and separate them by dashes, so that way we could now use new color and push new color to Supabase. So all these are just going to be asynchronous actions, right? Since we're going to push into the database, and we're just going to be doing it on the client side directly, right? And for we to just do that, we could just quickly make sure this function is just an async function, and we're just going to await, right? And to clean this up properly, let's just put this in a try and catch block and try and dash block. Yeah, so for try, we're just going to try await this, and for catch, right, we could just log error for now, error, and we could also bind dot finally. So when this is finally done, we're just going to set open to false, and we also have access to the loading states, which is just a regular state from React. Set is loading to, we're going to set is loading to false. Amazing stuff. Okay, cool. And format this real quick. Finally, yeah, okay, we'll take out these logs, and once this particular function is being called, we could say set loading. We just set it to true, right, to have the states, and that is what we're doing here with the button here. So if it's loading, it's gonna show saving, else it's just gonna show save, like what we currently have right now. Now, if you format this and we go up here, I think we're ready to push our data to Super. Okay, so let's quickly open up Supabase again because we just need to confirm Supabase receive our data real quick. Okay, go to project and let's go to colors clone and quickly go into databases. Okay, our database is there. Let's go to our table editor for our platelets. Our platelet is currently empty, right? Okay, so now let's try saving a particular color platelet. Let's just generate a new one and let's generate this one. I actually like this one. Okay, so say save. We're gonna call this first saving. The description is just gonna be my first colors saved under. If all thing works properly, you'll be able to save. So if you click on save, we have saving and our data is being closed. Now let's see if Supabase actually received our data. Yeah, cool. And Supabase received our data. Let's saving first color saved on the app, and we're saving the colors as dashes. That was what we did, right? By changing the array to like strings that have been separated by dashes. And this is the user ID, right? This is the particular user ID from Clerk directly that we set up in the beginning of the authentication part of this video. Okay, so right now let's just try one more. Let's try generating a new color platelet. Okay, let's just save this one. Second saved. Let's go save and come to Supabase. Yeah, we have saved. And one of the beautiful things about this is this particular data is just scoped to this particular user, right? If we try fetching this data, the user is just going to see only the data that relates to him or her, right? Or the data that was created by him or her. And I think that's the next thing we'll do, right? Because right now the user needs to be able to see the current saved or their current saved color platelets, like what we have here, right? Like what we have on the hosted one, where we have this. Just clicking on this, you could see your current saved platelets. This actually say no saved platelets, right? So let's quickly fix this. Okay, so let's quickly add this particular function. Let's quickly add this particular functionality, and that should be pretty much easy to do. I think we could close Supabase for now. Yeah, our connection to Supabase works. And let's just create a new function here, and our new function will be called. Our new function is just gonna be called saved platelets, and this will just be a regular component RFC. Okay, cool, amazing stuff. And we have save platelets. So what save platelets is just gonna do for us here is very simple and very straightforward. The save platelet is just gonna show all our save. It's just gonna handle and show all our save platelets. Let's go back to the page, right? And let's see this one more time, what we have here. And we have our other group, and we need to add the show save platelets, right? We need to add it in this particular page. So first things first, let's just create a boolean state, and our boolean state is just gonna be show save. And what this is just gonna do for us right now is just gonna be inside here and say, okay, if else, we're just gonna show no and nothing, right? Okay, so we're trying to import, and that should be pretty much straightforward to import this. And so save right, and we're importing it in the wrong part. This should be outside and above here. So we've been able to import this properly, and this particular function, let's show. And the only reason why it's accepting that is because we'll be using it to do some values. We'll be using it to set some values. Okay, we're just gonna say this, right? We're gonna accept this, and we are gonna use this, which is just return the value of a boolean. And yes, I think this is okay for us. Okay, so let's go here and close this real quick. Close what we don't really need here right now. Let's close everything and just open the ones we need. We just need only this. And let's go up real quick, and in this part, this is where we're going to put the icon, the menu icon that will be shown. So for the menu icon, we're just going to say the menu icon just be imported, right, from the icon library, and this is just going to be a regular icon. I think we could just make it a self-closing tag and add some class. In this particular class, what we're going to use to animate the values. So we're going to say this should just be called the menu icon, right? So once you click on this, you're gonna set the and else is just gonna set it to false. So you just want to use it to toggle. Okay, so with this now, we could refresh this page again, and let's see the changes. Okay, cool. So we have this icon, and let's quickly see this. Okay, I think for simplicity, we could just wrap this. We could wrap this icons in a button, and in the button we mean just need to wrap it around the button, and we should be able to have, okay, so I think we just refresh one more time and see if this is gonna give us what we want. Okay, so we have this. So once we click on it, it's gonna show color platelets, and we can't really see it right now. Let's click on this, and nothing is being shown because we haven't styled the color components yet. So let's go into this components and say let's just return some text here, right, just to show you how this is gonna work. And let's just do this, open this up. Cool, so we have this. Close this, you could close it, open and close it. So this is where we're going to show the current saved color platelets. And I think the next thing we could do here, we're just going to do some styling, right? And what we're going to do, we're going to make use of the particular hook we created before, which we called desktop, right, which is basically the use media query hook we created before. And this is just what we're going to use it for. We're just going to use it for to handle when we're on mobile and also where we're on desktop, right? Because if you see this example, let me show you this real quick. Once we're on mobile and you click on this comes like an overlay over the particular page, and you have this particular dark background overlay, right? And when you click on this, it goes out. But if you're on desktop, right, if you're on desktop, let's make this large, it's just going to show by the color platelet. So we're just going to try to achieve that with this particular value, with this particular, okay? So what that means for us is this. We're just going to say if it isn't desktop, meaning that it's going to be mobile, right? If it isn't desktop, we're just going to return a JSX. We're going to return JSX basically. That just does something very, very basic. And we'll just copy this here over here real quick. And so what it's just doing here is we're just going to I think we could just hide this for now, because this will just be used when we're fetching the data. And let's also hide this and save platelet. We haven't fetched the data from Supabase. We're gonna do that. Okay, so we have this, and say X is now imported. Let's quickly import X from our icon library and go up here and say this. Now for animation, we're just gonna use Framer Motion for the animation, and we're gonna use the use animate hook from Framer Motion to do that. And that should be pretty much straightforward for us to do. So there's a particular animation that's gonna happen on this particular page when the user tries to see their saved color. The scope is not defined. Okay, cool. That error is okay for now. Okay, so we have this, and open this up. Okay, I'm gonna work right now because we haven't defined the one for desktop. So the one for desktop, basically what it's supposed to do is something similar. Let's just take it this, and this is just gonna be the one for desktop. And let's just return the JSX here and take out the parts we haven't added yet. We haven't added the loading date yet. We haven't fetched the data yet, and I think this is pretty much fine. Yeah, okay, so let's just do this and reload the page one more time. So we open this up, we have this, and we close this, we have this, and open this up, and amazing. Okay, so one attention to details is we could actually animate this icon. Once it's open, we are going to rotate it, and once it closes, we are also going to rotate it back to the state. And for us to do that, that is very, very, very straightforward to do. Let's quickly go back to the page, and we're just going to do it on top of here, right? First off, we have to import use animate hook, because that's what we'll be using to do this. So we have a const that has access to the scope and also the animate, and we're just going to import from use animate. The use animate from Framer Motion. Okay, so we have use animate from Framer Motion. We are good to go. Okay, so once we have access to this, remember in our particular icon, or in the particular icon we're using, we added the class of, let's scroll down a bit, we added the class of menu icon. So we're going to use this class name to access the value. And for us to do that, we're just going to use a use effect. Very straightforward, right? We're just going to use a use effect that says once we have the value, right? We're just going to say animate, and which basically takes the selector, and yeah, what we actually want to do. So once the menu icon, which is what we're going to be using to select the menu, once we're going to be using the menu icon to select the particular icon, then what we basically want to do here, we just want to rotate, right? We just want to rotate this, and we're going to say if the show platelet is true, we're going to rotate it to 90 degree, else we're going to rotate it to 0 degree. And format this real quick, and okay, I think this is pretty much clean for us. Yeah, and yeah, and we have an error somewhere. Okay, this is looking clean. So we need to reference the scope right now. Let's just say reference of scope, right? We need to make use of the reference, and this is just going to be equal to scope. And this is what this means right now is this: for each and every value inside this parent that has the class of menu icon, it's gonna like rotate the value, right? That's why we are actually using the scope as a reference on the parent, because the parent holds the whole container of what we need here, which is just this menu icon we're trying to access, right? Pretty much straightforward animation using use animate. So let's refresh the page again and see. So open this up larger and you click this and it doesn't do anything really, right? Because why it won't do anything is because we are not setting this use state, right? We're not setting this use effect to monitor any states, right? Because this state changes, right, when we click on the icon. And when we click on the particular icon, we're supposed to update and tell the use effect to run every time this value changes. So with this now, open this up, this should work. Click this, opens up, and we could rotate this, and yeah, we could just add that little animation to our application. Okay, cool. And let's quickly go back to our save platelet. Our save platelet, what we just need to do here is once this particular component just mounts, we are just going to fetch the data. And for us to do that, we're just going to use another use effect inside here, which is on a separate component, right? So what we're going to say is on the use effect, let's just take in the use effect here. If the use effect is imported, we're just going to fetch in this function, right? Fetch user platelets. So we're going to import clients. Remember, we have clients that were already exported from the Supabase instance we created, and save platelets is just going to be a particular use state we already set up here. Cool. And also we're also going to set the loading state. Now we just need to type this particular save platelet, and for us to do that, we're just going to set a type outside this component, which is just coming from database. And okay, so don't mind the errors, we're going to fix it real quick. We have use states, import this. We're also going to import use effect from this. Also going to import our clients from our Supabase clients, and yeah, we could just use this function here and see this should just run for us and fetch our data straight up. Amazing. Okay, and we could just log outside this just to see if we're going to get our data. We're going to log our saved platelets and see what we currently have. Okay, let's refresh this page one more time and try to see if there's any error. Okay, cool. Database is not imported. You just need to import database from our database.type. Cool. Once we have this, let's refresh the page one more time and open this properly, and we should have our data fetched by now. Let's take this to the side again and see what we currently have in our console. Cool. So we have some data. We have 1, 2. Remember, we saved 2 values to our database from this particular user. We saved 1, first saving, and second saved, right? So that means we're fetching our data correctly from Supabase, and we're saving into a particular state, and we also have a loading state right now. So I think now we could just quickly do this. Bring back our loading states, also bring back our loading states, and also bring back the states, right? I basically checks to see if the platelet is 0 or it has a length of 0. We're just going to show no platelets found. Then we're also going to return this, right? We are also going to return this, which is just basically the platelet itself. Let's make this wider. The platelet basically is just going to hold a link from, we could import from Nextjs, from regular Nextjs link. Okay, all right, and we have this, and this works for us. And let's take it to the side again and refresh this page one more time and see what we currently have here. And for desktop, on mobile, right, let's bring back all this part too. So what we're just doing here is very basic, right? We're just setting some states, loading states. We're just setting some loading states. We are showing the data, right, for each of the, right, because this platelet right now is just going to hold our data, and we are mapping through save and showing the particular platelet in the color in the background, right? Then we're splitting these colors just to show it properly and showing the title. And so let's just visualize this real quick. We come here, open up the sidebar, it shows no save platelet. Let's load the page again and see what we currently have. Open this, there's no save. Okay, and we can't see this because we won't be able to see this because it should have a class of opacity of 0. Let's just make it an opacity of 1 for now before we animate it, right? and let's reload this page all over again. Make this wider. Voila, we have this, right? We have second saved and we have our colors all showing up here. So let's do it again. Open this up, have our colors here. Cool. Let's close this real quick and refresh our page and just take a look at our code again. So what we are doing is mapping through the save platelet, which is an array containing all our data, right? So this save platelet is structured like this. It's an array of objects containing the ID, our title, a description, and colors, and every values we have here, right? And which is coming from the database. So we are mapping through it, right? And coming over to the platelet, which holds the colors, right? The dot colors, and our colors are just what we're splitting into an array, right? And this is just returning an array for us where we could use the values to directly set the background colors for each and every of this div, where we just have some height and some rounded side left, and like based on what you could just see here, right? Cool. And if you click on a particular color, you could go to the color. If you click on this color, you'll be routed to the page. I think you should be routed to a 404 page. We're gonna fix that real quick. Okay, so the link will be links. The colors should be colors. Let's quickly go back to our home page. Open this up real quick. Okay, so we have start the generator from the beginning again. Let's just start this and this loads up. Okay, so we have some colors showing up here right now. Let's click this. Yeah, save platelets. Let's say for example we want to go to this one. Automatically we are routed here, right? And the page is updated in real time, and we click on this, and this data are all just coming from our database, which is Supabase at this moment. Okay, amazing. And one thing I just want to do here is, it seems our loading state is not working properly. So let's go up here and see inside our function where we are fetching. We're setting loading to false. At what point is loading set to true? Okay, so that should be the problem. Loading is never set to true, so we won't be able to see a loading spinner on the screen. Let's just set this loading to be true first once this function is being called, once this particular use effect runs. So with this now, we just open this up, we have a loading spinner and we have our amazing. And I think let's quickly save more colors. Let's say this should be okay. No, let's generate a new color first. Remember, we already have, you could just press the space bar to generate a new color. Let me search for a new color looking very good. Okay, I like this. Let's save this one and say third color, right? And let's say I love this one. Amazing. Saved, right? And if we quickly go to our sidebar, we should see our third colors, which is what we just saved right now. And if you go here, okay, you need to check out your third colors again, and you want to like work on them, or you want to get the values, you just click on this, you change the color. You could do whatever you want to do. You could go to the view and view the values directly, and you could save this new color platelet because you have a new color here, or you could just export this as an SVG, which should just work. And yeah, this is all working for us, and this is really looking good. And we just do this one more time, try to see what we have here. Colors, second saved, saving, and there you have it. And there you have it. You just have your application where you could generate color platelets. You could edit your color, you could drag and drop, you could lock your color, you could copy, you could remove your colors, you could also view the colors, you could save the colors to your database, you could export the color as whatever format you want to export it as. You could also always generate new colors. And yeah, so I think at this point we've actually mapped out all the feature we planned out to do for this particular build, and I hope you guys love it. And if you got into this part of the video, please subscribe, share this video, and also give a thumbs up, because it kind of helps the channel, right, to grow. And because like I said earlier, more content will be dropping, similar content, front-end projects on this particular channel. I really wish you don't miss it, because it's gonna be like bangers. And yeah, that is it. So I think with this, the next step would just be to push to GitHub, right? And also try to host on Vercel. Just try to host on Vercel. And after hosting on Vercel, you could now set up your development build for maybe authentication. So you could go to like dev build. Yeah, I think with that, we've come to the end of this particular video. Thank you for following me along to this part of the video. And thank you for your time. And thank you for being a loyal subscriber. See you in the next video. Bye.